Five, four, three, two, one, and here's a blast from the past. I no longer need to say five, four, three, two, one. Hello and welcome. Welcome back to Space Engineers on the Xbox, on the Series X, and we are getting really close to the 3-year Space Engineers Xbox anniversary on this channel and on the Xbox. I do believe it was 3 years ago on April the 27th, potentially. I can't remember. I'd have to go back and look. It's been a while. But I thought since we get a lot of new players around the time of an update of Space Engineers, and we are zooming closer to Automatons, as it's supposed to be out in April, and even closer to the release of Space Engineers on the PlayStation, where we will welcome a whole brand new group of engineers into the game. So we are back, and you might recognize this if you've been following the channel for a while, especially from the start. My original platform for my first ever Space Engineers tutorial on grouping things way back. And as you know, that tutorial is good, but it's out of date. And the reason is Keen like to update things, make things oddly enough easier, and they revamped the way that you group objects and select them in the control panel. So I thought, since we're getting closer and closer to the anniversary of my 3 years of Space Engineers on the Xbox, even though I've had the channel for much longer, it might be nice to jump into some little video on grouping things again, how it works now, and the ways you can do to group the entire grid or parts of it, and how to skip through objects on the control panel and have it all in one brand new video right sort of at the start, or rather the end of the playlist of the tutorials, so you can see from the get-go. You don't have to go all the way tracing through and searching the channel and so on. So what we have here is my little addition to this platform that I've popped on the side, where there are 3 hangar doors. These are the Warfare hangar doors with windows. If you look on the channel, you'll see that I did a showcase on the Warfare DLC editions and so on. And what we have is a button panel and a button that's already active. So let me just go into here, into the button panel. You'll see there's a set of actions there. We're just going to get rid of this by pressing A on it. And we now have an empty button panel and 3 hangar doors. Now, normally, most people will just do this. Press X on the button panel, and they'll go to a hangar door, and they'll put that hangar door on open closed, and you can activate one hangar door. And I've seen people new to the game put every single hangar door on a button panel, and there's several button panels in a row along a wall, and yeah, it works, but there are easier and definitely better ways of doing it. So this is close like that. We'll go back to the button panel, and we'll go again by pressing X. Move to set up actions using the left stick. Now, and remove this by pressing A. So what we want is we want these 3 hangar doors on one button. And this is where grouping comes in. So rather than pressing the button itself, we can go to right bumper, left bumper, and the inventory to open up the control panel on the grid, and you'll see that we've got a lot of things here. And using the D-pad to scroll up and down through that window. Now, if we want to select the whole grid, say we wanted to give it to an enemy faction, like we were making our drone spawners, you can see one of those videos on the channel, we would hold both bumpers and press the A button twice. That will select the entire grid. We can then do what we want. We could turn that whole grid into a group. Not sure why we want to do that, but it's the grid. If we wanted to take a part of that grid out of our selection, hold down the right bumper and press A, and then let go of the right bumper, and you'll see the connector is now no longer part of it. Same deal with connector out, right bumper A, and that way you can just keep the right bumper held down if you want to move through your list, and put things on and off by pressing A until the whole thing is back to normal. What happens if we want to select between demo T and say our connector out? Well, we'd hold down the left bumper on demo T and keep it held down, go to connector out and tap A. That will band select all of the items between demo T and connector out. If we wanted to take out assembler 4 from that list, again, hold the right bumper down, tap A, and we are good. Same with wind, right bumper, tap A. All the things grouped like that. And to put them back in, right bumper A, right bumper A. If we wanted to skip and start adding, say, our Warfare Hangar doors, if you hold the left bumper and press A, you'll see that it will start a new set whenever you let go of the left bumper. You can add more to it by holding down the left bumper and keep on going down the list and pressing A. And if you come back up the list and press A, you'll take everything off up to the assembler again. So as long as the left bumper is held down, you can band select back and forth. If you want to select more with more user control, hold down the right bumper, hold down A, and just tap down on the D-pad and up on the D-pad, and you'll see you'll band select along various things. It's, however, a little tricky to get. So what you want to do is, I always tend to double click things until I see the line, and when the line appears on the left hand side, hold down A, right bumper, and just keep on tapping down on the D-pad, and you'll keep on selecting beneath it. Then if you want to remove the connector and the connector out from that list, hold down right bumper, tap A after you've moved the D-pad to connector out. And this way, you've got a lot more control over what you add and what you remove. And in that case, what we want to do using this method is to go all the way to Warfare Hangar door windowed and press A on it. Now, if we bring the D-pad down until we've got these three here, if we hold the right bumper again and tap A, we'll add 2 If we push down on the D-pad and tap A, we'll add 3. We've now got our 3 doors, and this is what we wanted. So if we put a group together, by moving the left stick across until we reach the block group, pressing A on it, naming it, and then pulling the left stick down until it's on save, pressing save, and then we have now made a new group called Warfare Hangar Doors. With a blank button panel, all we need to do is press X on it and come down with the right bumper to groups, look through our groups until we find Warfare Hangar Door, and then select what we want it to do. In this case, we want it open, closed. Then, when we press this button, now all 3 doors move in unison. To close our little area off. And that is how you group up these doors. Another particular thing I see a lot of people ask is when they built their first fighter or their ship or whatever they built, they want to know how they can festoon it with weapons and or drills. Well, it's a similar way to do the doors, whereas with weapons, let's say a couple of artillery guns, for the time being, large grid. We've got some rocket launchers, railgun, says artillery guns. So if we put the artillery guns here, for now, we'll do 4 of these. Rotate these. Like so. We've got our 4 on here. And what we want to be able to do, or what a lot of people ask how to do, is how do you control these from a ship? Well, if we just give this thing a control seat, like so, jump into it, you'll see that we can't do anything with it. If we hit the right trigger, nothing happens. Left trigger, nothing happens, apart from activating the locking system. So what we want to do is to be able to control those guns. We want to be able to fire those guns. Now, again, when I see people do this, a lot of people think that you put each individual gun onto a D-pad. What happens if you do that is, let's just put this on shoot once, and then artillery 2 on shoot once. You can actually fire one gun at a time by pushing up on the D-pad and then right on the D-pad. Now those guns will need to reload. So. That's not really a very efficient way of doing things because you have no real control, and plus you'd be doing a lot of D-pad shortcuts if you have a lot of cannons. What happens if you want to fire all 4 cannons at once? Again, this is what grouping's for. So what you could do is you could group 2 cannons together. Yeah, you'd be pushing up on the D-pad to fire those cannons. What you can do is simply go into block tools, or rather go into block weapons, and you'll see that all of your artillery are listed here. If you select the block weapons, so all I did was hold down the D-pad in the direction I wanted, tapped the right bumper until I was on block weapons, selected the block weapon, and the block weapon is in that segment. If I now select that, it will tell me that I have artillery selected. If I go to our third person view, pull round a bit, every time I press right trigger, we're going to fire all 4 artillery guns, like so. And then we have to wait for them to reload. What happens if we have a couple of rocket launchers also attached to our grid? Like this. Now we've got 2 sets of weapons, artillery and rockets. We can fire the artillery, turn them off by pressing up on the D-pad. So maybe we want the rockets down on the D-pad. So hold down, block weapons, rocket launchers. And now, down on the D-pad, let us fire rockets from the rocket launchers. And up on the D-pad, let's just shoot the artillery. If you group the rockets and the artillery together, you can do it, but again, you'll have that whole control issue where you need to use the D-pad, or you could set it up on a timer block. That's a little more complex. The new event controller block and blocks coming with automatons will probably make things a lot easier. But for now, if you've got 2 or 3 weapon systems on a small fighter, like miniguns and rockets, all you need to do is follow these instructions to put them onto the grid. The same for ship tools. If you put your drills on your grid and use block tools instead of block weapons, you'll select the drills, and the drills will function just like they do a hand drill. So if I get rid of our weapons here, like so, same can be said for grinders as well, and welders. So we go to our handy dandy ship tools menu. We've got grinders here. The grinders. And a couple of drills, like so. And again, we'll clear our actions. And to do that, hold down the D-pad direction and press X, and it will remove the action. So now all we need is block tools. So on our block tools, first of all, our drills at the top and our grinders at the bottom, and then we have our drills, and I'll probably see that, but they are spinning. There you go, our grinders working at the bottom. And that is how group tools and weapons onto the D-pad, shortcuts, and how to remove them. So when you build your first fighter, or when you build your first drill ship, or whatever, or a grid, you can easily put things like hangar doors, multiple objects onto one button press or onto a control panel or flight seat or whatever, and make sure that you get it right. Because if you go, for instance, and put your all blocks and you pick a drill like so, you can put it on toggle block on off, and that will just activate that drill. If you wanted to group all the tools together on that, well, you go into the control panel, you had find your drills, group them up, and we use this when we're doing things like drill rigs. Push up on the D-pad, go down to groups this time, find your drill group, toggle block on off, and then you've got your drill group. So you can use that on a mining grid to have multiple drill heads all turned on at once from a simple mining ship or a mining drone or a drill. You've seen I've built several drills in the past with 5 drills on a head. Well, that's the way that you group up all of the drills on one press of the D-pad. And if you put that on a control seat, you can control that from your base. But that should give you a grounding again in one particular tutorial, in one place, so you don't have to flick through the channel and try to find all the old ones using all the new selection methods that Keen put into the game. And there you go. So that's all I've got time for on this one. Hopefully it'll be useful for somebody. As I said, we're going to get a lot of new players. We usually get quite a few when an update drops on the Xbox and PC anyway. And we will be getting PlayStation players coming in. And I'm pretty sure that they can still use a lot of these tutorials, even though it's the Xbox, because the underlying core systems are the same. The buttons will change only based on the controller on the PlayStation. So, yeah, should be fun. And Automatons is around the corner. And that's where I will be doing a lot more videos. I'll be going through how to create your airlock again, this time not on the beta, it will be on the retail. And we'll look at drones, how to make those work properly, how to make them pick up cargo, take it from A to B, drop it off, and do it all using the new event controller block and the AI blocks that are coming in Automatons. I'll be doing a DLC showcase as well. And all of that to come on my channel as we get closer and closer to the 3-year anniversary of this particular content for the Xbox. That's quite a milestone. And we are getting closer to the 2,000 subscribers. And as we've said, me and Paul will be releasing the all-terrain armoured transport and the AT-ST onto Mod.io the moment that I get to 2,000 subs. As a nice little milestone and a thank you. Until then, though, stay safe, take care, have fun, enjoy the game. Loads more on the way. Bye for now.